Every day we cross paths with countless faces, each hiding a story deep enough to fill entire books. But even when we stand so close to one another, truly knowing and understanding the people around us often slips through our fingers. Now imagine this. Behind every smile, frown, or glance you see in others, there runs a hidden line connecting us all, an ancient wisdom, steady and timeless. Today, we're not just looking at faces. We're stepping into the thoughts and feelings behind them. We're uncovering 10 timeless truths about people, truths that Stoicism reminds us are not signs of weakness but signs of great strength. These lessons don't just give us knowledge, they give us the power to change how we face struggles, build relationships, and live with purpose. So come with me as we untangle the secrets of human nature and see how the old ways of Stoicism still guide us in today's world. If you enjoy these rare insights and want to help this channel grow, I only ask for one small favor. Press the subscribe button. And don't miss a second of this video. Consider yourself different from the crowd, ready to welcome a way of thinking that might completely change how you see your life. Number 1. Differing values. Human interaction is like a vast tapestry, woven together by countless threads of belief, choice, and desire. Among the brightest of these threads are our values, the things we hold most important. For some, it is career success and achievement. For others, it may be family, creativity, personal freedom, or service to the community. These values guide our decisions, shape our priorities, and influence how we see the world. But because they are so personal, they can also collide. When different values meet, especially in situations where choices affect many people, the result can be tension, disagreement, or even conflict. Yet Stoicism gives us a way to approach these differences with calm and wisdom. The Stoics remind us that while we have power over our own thoughts, actions, and character, we cannot control the values others choose to live by, nor should we try to force them. This truth is freeing. Instead of wasting energy trying to bend others to our way of thinking, we can focus on living our values fully and consistently, leading by example rather than through pressure or argument. This mindset is crucial in creating patience and tolerance. Imagine a workplace where one person values innovation, pushing boundaries, taking risks, and seeking fresh ideas, while another values tradition, preserving stability, safety, and proven methods. At first, these approaches might seem to clash, but if we see them through a Stoic lens, we recognize them as complementary. The innovator keeps the team moving forward, while the traditionalist ensures it doesn't lose its foundation. Together, they create a balance that neither could achieve alone. Respecting differences in values is not only a way to prevent conflict, it is also a doorway to growth. When we engage with people whose values differ from our own, we are invited to see the world through another lens. Their priorities may challenge us, expand our perspective, or reveal blind spots we never noticed. This requires humility to listen, courage to share our own views honestly, and fairness to find common ground. These are exactly the kinds of virtues Stoicism calls us to practice: wisdom, justice, courage, and moderation. When we live this way, we create more than just peaceful relationships. We help shape a more compassionate and understanding society. We learn to see diversity of values not as a threat, but as an opportunity. The community becomes stronger when every voice is heard and every perspective is weighed with respect. In this harmony, we embody the Stoic ideal: to live in accordance with reason and virtue, not only for our own benefit but for the good of all. Number 2. Universal insecurities. In the wide and complicated landscape of human relationships, one truth quietly links us all. No matter how confident someone may appear on the outside, insecurities are always present beneath the surface. They may be hidden behind smiles, achievements, or bold behavior, but they are there. Small doubts, quiet fears, or lingering questions about worth and belonging. These insecurities are not signs of weakness. They are simply part of what it means to be human, a shared vulnerability that connects us more deeply than we often realize. Stoicism provides a powerful way of looking at this truth. The Stoics taught that insecurities, like all emotions, are not meant to control us. What matters is how we respond to them. If we let them define us, Insecurities can shrink our world, making us avoid risks or hide our true selves. But if we acknowledge them with honesty and examine them calmly, they lose much of their power. By viewing our insecurities through a lens of reason, compassion, and perspective, we transform them into teachers rather than enemies. This practice not only helps us better understand ourselves, but also changes how we see others. When we remember that everyone, from the most powerful leader to the quietest neighbor, carries their own hidden struggles, our interactions shift. Instead of competing, criticizing, or judging, we begin to approach people with patience and kindness. We stop seeing weakness as something to exploit and instead recognize it as an opportunity to support and uplift. Imagine a coworker who stays silent in a meeting, even though you know they have ideas worth hearing. The easy conclusion might be that they are unmotivated. But if we remember the universal truth of insecurity, we might see their hesitation differently, as the weight of self-doubt. By gently encouraging them to speak and valuing their input, we not only strengthen teamwork, but also help them step past their own inner barriers. When we apply this Stoic perspective, relationships become more genuine. By acknowledging our own insecurities instead of hiding them, we invite honesty and openness. This vulnerability builds trust, allowing others to feel safe enough to share their own struggles. In this way, insecurities don't vanish, but they stop being walls between us. They become bridges that allow real connection. Living with this awareness reflects the Stoic commitment to wisdom, virtue, and empathy. Every conversation becomes a chance to practice patience. Every moment of doubt becomes an invitation to grow. And every act of kindness helps build a society that values understanding over judgment. By embracing insecurities, both our own and those of others, we learn to live more authentically, support more sincerely, and strengthen the bonds that make life meaningful. Number 3, diverse communication styles. Communication is like the flow of a river through a busy city. Sometimes the water moves fast, crashing over rocks with power and clarity. Other times it moves slowly, winding gently, almost hidden in its softness. People speak in the same way. Some are like rushing waters, clear, bold, and straight to the point. Others are like quiet streams, careful, thoughtful, and subtle in how they share their ideas. Both ways of speaking carry meaning, but if we don't pay attention, these differences can cause confusion and even conflict. Stoicism teaches us that the strength of communication doesn't rest only in the words we use, but in how well we listen and adapt. The Stoics remind us that every person has their own rhythm of speech, shaped by their past, their culture, and their personality. A direct speaker may see honesty as respect and may feel frustrated if someone avoids clear answers. On the other hand, a person who values gentleness may find blunt words harsh, even when no harm was meant. When we recognize these differences, we begin to build bridges instead of walls. This doesn't mean we abandon who we are or pretend to be someone else. It means we learn to adjust, to find a middle ground where understanding can happen. It's not about copying another person's style. It's about meeting them halfway, respecting the way they choose to express themselves, and allowing space for both voices to be heard. Every communication style is like a window into a person's inner world. Behind sharp honesty might be a history of struggle, where being clear and firm was necessary to survive. Behind gentle hints might be a culture or upbringing where harmony was prized above confrontation. By keeping this in mind, we stop judging and start understanding. Stoicism encourages us to see communication as a path to connection, not competition. The goal is not to win arguments, impress others, or prove ourselves right. It is to create understanding. With this mindset, even a difficult conversation can turn into an opportunity to grow closer to someone. So the next time you're faced with someone who leaves you guessing with subtle hints, or someone who hits you with blunt honesty, pause for a moment. Look beyond the words. Ask yourself why they're speaking that way and what experiences might have shaped their voice. This practice turns everyday conversations into small lessons in wisdom and empathy. In this way, Stoic teaching transforms communication into an art not of clever words, but of patience, awareness, and genuine connection, the kind of art that makes relationships deeper and life itself more meaningful. Number 4. Self-interest in relationships. Relationships, whether personal or professional, are like a dance, sometimes graceful, sometimes clumsy. Each step requires us to notice not only our own movements, but also the motives and needs of those around us. One truth that can feel uncomfortable is this: not everyone will act with your best interests at heart. People often move to the rhythm of their own desires, shaped by their goals, fears, and priorities. The Stoics remind us that we cannot control what others choose to do, but we always have control over how we respond. If we expect everyone to put our needs first, disappointment is certain. But if we accept that people usually act from a place of self-interest, we gain freedom. Instead of being crushed by resentment or frustration, we can meet situations calmly, with reason and balance. This shift of perspective doesn't make us cold, it makes us wiser. Understanding this truth gives us a clearer, steadier view of relationships. People will sometimes put their own desires ahead of ours, not necessarily because they wish us harm, but simply because it is human nature to look after one's own well-being. Accepting this does not mean we should distrust everyone or assume the worst. It means learning to see people as they are, complex, motivated by many forces, and setting boundaries and expectations that allow for healthier, more honest connections. Consider a professional setting. One colleague may prize innovation, eager to break ground with bold ideas, while another may value tradition, focused on stability and proven methods. Without perspective, these differences could spark conflict. But Stoicism teaches us to see them as complementary strengths. By recognizing that each person's viewpoint is driven by their own values and self-interest, we can approach the conversation with respect rather than resistance. Instead of clashing, the two perspectives can combine to create solutions that are both creative and reliable. Respecting different motives isn't only about preventing disagreements, it's about growth. When we engage sincerely with people who think differently, we stretch our own minds. Their perspectives can reveal blind spots we didn't notice, inspire us with fresh ideas, and challenge us to refine our own beliefs. This kind of exchange requires courage and humility, the courage to speak honestly, the humility to listen deeply, and the fairness to negotiate in good faith. These are all Stoic virtues: wisdom, justice, and self-control, applied to the everyday act of relating to others. When we embrace these practices, our relationships become steadier, more peaceful, and more productive. We stop expecting perfection and start building connections on respect, fairness, and understanding. On a larger scale, this mindset helps create a society where empathy thrives, where differences are not threats but opportunities, and where the common good is strengthened by the variety of human voices. In this way, Stoicism teaches us that self-interest does not need to divide us. If handled with wisdom, it can actually bring us closer together. By seeing human motives clearly and responding with reason, we build not only stronger relationships, but also stronger communities, living proof that harmony is possible when we place virtue and understanding at the center of our lives. Number 5. Inherent judgment. The instinct to judge quickly is something deeply woven into human history. Long ago, our ancestors depended on it for survival. When faced with a rustle in the bushes, they couldn't sit down and analyze calmly. They had to decide instantly: danger or safety, friend or foe. These snap decisions kept them alive. But while this ability was crucial in the wild, in today's world of complex social interactions, it can work against us. What once protected us can now create misunderstandings, tension, and even unfair treatment of others. Stoicism offers a remedy for this ancient habit. The Stoics remind us that true wisdom is found in holding back our first reactions. They taught that impressions, those fast, automatic judgments, are often incomplete and sometimes false. Instead of trusting them blindly, we are encouraged to pause, to ask, is this really the truth or is it just my assumption? This pause creates space for clarity, helping us to see people and situations as they actually are, not as our fears or biases paint them. By practicing this restraint, We align ourselves with one of Stoicism's greatest goals: to live with virtue through self-control and clear understanding. When we slow down our judgment, we give ourselves time to gather more facts and see the bigger picture. This practice prevents us from falling into harmful traps like stereotyping, unfair criticism, or harsh assumptions that damage relationships. Take a simple example. Suppose a colleague misses an important deadline. Our first thought might be, they're lazy, careless, or unprofessional. But what if we stop and reflect? What if instead of condemning, we consider that they might be dealing with a family crisis, a health issue, or unseen pressures? In that moment, we shift from blame to compassion. Instead of frustration, we might choose to support them, offering help or understanding. That small change doesn't just protect the relationship, it deepens it. When we practice this Stoic approach, our interactions become richer and more genuine. We stop treating people as cardboard cutouts, defined by a single action, and start seeing them as full human beings with struggles, strengths, and stories. This not only reduces conflict, but also builds trust, respect, and stronger connections. Embracing this mindful way of judging is more than just a personal habit. It can shape entire communities. When people learn to pause, reflect, and respond with fairness, societies naturally become more tolerant, compassionate, and wise. This is the Stoic commitment: to live according to reason and virtue, to strengthen ourselves through discipline, and to use that strength to uplift those around us. In doing so, we don't just improve our own lives, we become a source of calm, clarity, and goodness in a world often clouded by quick and careless judgment. Number 6. Everyone is shaped by their experiences. Each of us is like a book, and every chapter is written by the things we've gone through and the moments we've witnessed. Some chapters are full of joy, some are filled with struggle, and others are quiet, almost ordinary. But together they tell the story of who we are today. It's amazing to think about how every conversation, every victory, every loss, even the smallest choices, all stack up like bricks, building the person we become. Stoicism reminds us that it's not the experiences alone that define us, but how we choose to respond to them. Life is like a blacksmith's forge, and we are the metal being shaped. Every test, every success, every disappointment is like heat and hammer blows, molding our character. If we let life teach us, even the hardest days can strengthen us. If we let life overwhelm us, those same moments can break us down. The difference lies in our response. Think of someone who has endured heavy struggles. That person may walk through life with both caution and strength because they've seen how fragile things can be, but also how strong the human spirit is when it refuses to give up. Compare that with someone raised in a safer, easier place. They may step into the world with boldness and trust, ready to take risks because they haven't yet been burned by failure or loss. Neither perspective is wrong. It's simply the reflection of their unique journey. When we remember this, our view of people changes. If someone reacts in a way we don't understand, maybe they're too guarded or too quick to anger, it helps to think about the hidden battles and lessons that shaped them. The Stoics teach us to look past the surface, to see the forces underneath that guide behavior. This shift in perspective doesn't just help us deal with others more wisely. It also helps us respond with patience, kindness, and self-control instead of being swept away by our own emotions. By practicing this, we begin to connect on a deeper level. We stop reacting to just what's on the surface and start recognizing the deeper story behind each person. That's where real empathy is born. And empathy, balanced with reason, allows us to move through even the most complicated relationships with dignity and understanding. It creates a kind of emotional intelligence that blends Stoic wisdom with modern psychology, a timeless toolkit for living better. So if these ideas speak to you, don't just listen passively. Take them in. Use them. Let them reshape how you see yourself and others. And if you want to keep exploring these insights with us, hit the subscribe button. Don't skip around. Stay with the whole message. You're not here to be part of the crowd. You're here because you're ready to look at life differently, and that choice already sets you apart. Number 7. Motivational differences. Just as people hold different values, the forces that push us forward, the things that inspire us to act, are not the same for everyone. Some people find strength in security. They feel motivated when life is steady, predictable, and safe. Others thrive on recognition, seeking the approval and praise of their peers as proof that their efforts matter. Still others are fueled by curiosity, forever drawn toward new ideas, fresh experiences, and uncharted possibilities. These motivations are like invisible engines that power human behavior, each one unique, yet equally real and powerful. To navigate relationships well, whether in friendship, family, or work, we must learn to see these differences clearly. Stoicism guides us to approach every interaction with mindfulness and respect for what drives another person. Instead of assuming that everyone is motivated in the same way we are, Stoicism encourages us to pause and ask, what inspires this person? What do they seek? By recognizing this, we can adapt our communication and actions, making our interactions smoother and more meaningful. Think of a workplace team. If one member is motivated by recognition, taking the time to thank them openly during a meeting can light up their energy and inspire even more contribution. Another teammate might find peace in stability, so offering them clear instructions, steady expectations, and reassurance gives them the confidence to excel. Then there is the one who lives on curiosity. Feed their hunger with challenges, learning opportunities, and room for exploration, and they will bring creativity to the table. Each person blooms differently, and understanding what waters their growth is the key to harmony. But Stoicism doesn't just ask us to notice what motivates others, it asks us to look inward as well. Why do we act the way we do? Is it out of fear, pride, ambition, or a desire for truth? By examining our own motives honestly, we can align them with our values and virtues, ensuring that we are not simply reacting to impulses, but living with intention. For Stoics, true fulfillment comes not from chasing shallow rewards, but from letting our motivations serve justice, wisdom, courage, and moderation, the virtues that form a good life. When we begin to live this way, something greater unfolds. We create communities where motivational differences are not only accepted, but celebrated. People feel seen, supported, and encouraged to bring their best selves forward. This strengthens bonds, builds resilience, and helps groups, whether families, teams, or societies, thrive together. By respecting the sparks that drive each individual and choosing to respond with fairness and empathy, we practice the very heart of Stoicism. We learn that wisdom is not in forcing everyone to share one motive, but in guiding diverse motives toward a shared good. Number 8. Varied responses to stress. Stress touches everyone, but it doesn't look the same for all of us. Some people face it like a thunderstorm, loud, fierce, and impossible to ignore. Their emotions crash down like lightning, showing up in anger, frustration, or confrontation. Others, however, respond more like a soft drizzle, quiet, retreating inward, pulling back from the world to deal with their worries silently. Neither reaction is random. Both are shaped by who we are, our personalities, our past experiences, and even the way our bodies are wired to handle pressure. The wisdom of Stoicism gives us a steady anchor in these storms. The Stoics remind us that the events of life are often out of our control, but the way we respond to them is always within our reach. That truth becomes powerful when we notice the wide range of stress responses around us. For the person whose stress turns into confrontation, Stoicism teaches the value of reflection and restraint. Instead of letting anger pour out like fire, they can learn to pause, breathe, and ask, is this reaction useful? Does it bring me closer to peace or push me further from it? This simple pause creates space for wiser choices. For the person who withdraws under stress, Stoicism offers another path, to look inward with honesty, but not to stay trapped there. It invites them to examine their feelings, then step forward with courage instead of shrinking away from life's challenges. Recognizing these patterns in ourselves is the first step, but Stoicism also encourages us to extend that awareness to others. Imagine a colleague who gets defensive whenever the pressure rises. Instead of meeting their sharpness with more sharpness, you can respond calmly, choosing words that ease tension rather than fuel it, or think of a friend who hides when stress grows heavy. Giving them space can be a gift, but offering a listening ear later might be exactly what they need to return stronger. Understanding these different stress responses builds emotional intelligence. It equips us with tools not only to manage our own storms, but also to navigate the storms of others. And this isn't about trying to change people or forcing them to behave differently. It's about seeing them clearly, with empathy, and working together in a way that makes life smoother for everyone. Stoicism shows us that resilience doesn't come from denying stress or burying our emotions. It comes from learning, adapting, and growing through those challenges. When we embrace this mindset, we turn stress from an enemy into a teacher. Our workplaces, our families, and our communities begin to feel calmer, stronger, and more united. In this way, even the weight of stress becomes a chance to practice wisdom and virtue, the very heart of the Stoic path. Number 9. Projection of thoughts and feelings. Projection is one of the most fascinating yet tricky parts of human psychology. It happens when we unconsciously place our own emotions, traits, or fears onto someone else. Instead of seeing them as they truly are, we see a reflection of our inner world. This can create serious misunderstandings because it distorts reality. For example, a person who struggles with jealousy may constantly accuse others of being envious, or someone afraid of rejection might interpret neutral behavior as hostility. The Stoics teach us to pause and turn inward when these judgments arise. They remind us to ask, is what I'm accusing someone of truly about them, or is it revealing something unresolved within me? This kind of reflection isn't easy. It takes honesty and courage to face our own weaknesses, but it is essential for growth. When we stop blaming others for traits we secretly wrestle with, we begin to see them, and ourselves, more clearly. Imagine accusing a colleague of being selfish because they declined to help on a project. At first, it may seem obvious, but what if your reaction is rooted in your own fear of appearing selfish, or from experiences where others let you down? By questioning this, you uncover hidden biases and prevent an unfair judgment. Stoicism encourages this kind of inquiry, not to shame us, but to free us from false perceptions that cloud our relationships. This awareness transforms how we communicate. Instead of throwing blame, we create space for dialogue. Instead of assuming bad intentions, we ask questions, seek clarity, and listen. Projection thrives in silence and misunderstanding, but it weakens when honesty enters the room. By admitting our own insecurities, we invite others to do the same, and trust grows in that shared openness. It's important to understand that insecurities and inner conflicts don't disappear overnight. They remain part of being human. But by acknowledging them, we stop letting them act as barriers between us. They become stepping stones to deeper understanding and more authentic bonds. This is how projection, once a source of conflict, can be turned into a path toward connection. Living in this way reflects Stoic wisdom, practicing self-awareness, exercising self-control, and striving to see reality as it is rather than as our fears paint it. Each interaction becomes an opportunity to practice these virtues. Instead of letting projection poison our view of others, we use it as a mirror to better understand ourselves. In doing so, we not only improve our own character, but also create more empathetic, respectful, and supportive relationships, building the kind of society the Stoics believed in, one rooted in reason, compassion, and virtue. Number 10. Post-decision rationalization. When we move through the maze of human choices, there is a quiet but powerful force at work: post-decision rationalization. This happens when someone makes a choice first, but then changes the reasons for it later, so that it matches the way they want to see themselves or the way they want others to see them. It's like rewriting the story after it already happened, polishing it so it feels more comfortable, more acceptable, or more impressive. People do this without even noticing, often bending the truth a little to protect their pride or to fit in with the expectations of society. The Stoics remind us that real strength lies in being honest with ourselves. They teach that our choices should rest on truth, not on ego, and not on the approval of other people. If we pay attention, we notice that many times people reshape their stories because they don't want to feel the discomfort that comes when their actions don't match their beliefs. This discomfort is called cognitive dissonance, and it pushes people to create explanations that make them feel better. When we see this happening, we can choose to respond with more kindness and patience, because we understand the hidden struggle behind the words. Think of a co-worker who takes a big risk at work. Maybe it doesn't go as planned, but afterward, they talk about it with bold confidence, explaining why it was the right move all along. Instead of judging them harshly, recognizing the possibility of rationalization allows us to understand their fear of failure or their longing to be respected. These feelings are not unique to them. They belong to all of us. We all want to be accepted. We all want to protect our sense of worth. Seeing this truth makes space for more open and supportive conversations. But the lesson doesn't stop with others. It also turns back toward us. If we are honest, we realize we often rewrite our own stories too. The Stoics call us to pause and ask, why did I really make that choice? Was it because of fear, pride, comfort, or was it truly in line with my values? This kind of reflection, though sometimes uncomfortable, is the doorway to growth. It helps us make decisions that come from our real principles, not from the desire to impress or defend ourselves. By practicing this, our actions become not only quicker reactions, but thoughtful expressions of who we really are. This is how we walk in wisdom, truth, and integrity. When we live this way, we not only grow as individuals, but also strengthen our relationships. People feel the difference when they meet someone who is honest, humble, and true to their values. Life is full of choices, and each one gives us a chance to practice this clarity. Every conversation, every challenge, every moment is an opening to understand more deeply and to connect more fully with others. Stoicism invites us to live with open eyes and an open heart, to grow wiser with every step, and to let our lives shine with authenticity. Thank you for walking through this reflection with us here on Stoic Saga. If this idea spoke to you, keep exploring the wisdom of Stoicism. Remember, each day is a chance to live more truthfully, to see more clearly, and to become more at peace with yourself and the world.